So in terms of the genetics of blood types, let's recall from past units that your blood type is established before you're even born, right? It's not something that comes along afterwards. And it's specified by specific genes inherited from your parents. So remember, folks, we inherit one allele from our mom and one allele from our dad, right? So let's say dad is homozygous type A and mom is homozygous type B. What blood type would the child be? Anyone know? What'd you say?
AB.
AB. How do you know, Ryan?
Because that's what it's going to be.
Okay, because why?
Because
Dad gives the A, mom gives the B, so that's the only possibility there is. Mrs. Rice the other day was talking about something that was interesting, and she said that her daughter was going to go in for a recent surgery, and the doctor was going through the indications, and they found out that she was saying, oh, she's type A. And she was thinking in her mind, that's not right. My husband and I are both type O. So what's going on? So she just kind of let her go through and get ready for the surgery and everything. At the end, she says, hey, we need to check this. So they found out at the end that they had stapled somebody's wrong file onto the back of hers. And if that would have happened going into surgery, it would have been a very bad thing. So we need to always keep in mind what those are. These genes determine your blood type by causing proteins called antigens to exist on the surface of all your red blood cells. Okay, so if you have A blood, you're going to have the A antigen on top of your red blood cells. If you have B blood, you'll have the B. If you have AB, you'll have both. And if you have O, you'll have neither. Okay. So there are three alleles for blood type, A, B, and O. Let's recall what our blood types are, okay? And just go ahead and write down the genotypes for those particular blood types. So does anybody remember, we just talked about homozygous. What is it called when there's two different alleles again? Heterozygous, good. So for type A and B, you can have both homozygous and heterozygous, right? But for type O and type AB, it'd be, you just have one particular genotype. Excellent. And can anybody recall what it is when you've got two alleles that both express equally?
Oh, codominant?
There you go. Codominant. So codominance would mean that you'd have both the A and the B expressing equally. However, the little letter I is recessive to the A and B allele, right? So those are completely dominant over that. So just a little bit to recall from that. We'll talk a little bit more in our lab today about what this means, but remember, if you have an A antigen on your blood, on your red blood cell, you're going to produce B antibodies in your plasma. So if you give an A blood person B blood in a transfusion, those B antibodies essentially go and attack. They're like, hey, foreign invader, something's going on here. They attack, and they essentially, what we call agglutinate, or they break down those erythrocytes, those red blood cells. They break it down again, they spill the contents out. It's pretty lethal. So in terms of just distribution of blood type, and this comes from the American Red Cross, okay? Just gives us an idea. This goes a little out of order, so let's make sure we're paying attention here. But type A blood is pretty common. If you add up A positive and A negative, you get a total of 38.8% of the human population. Again, 38.8. Type B blood is less common at about 11.1% total for type A and B combined. Or excuse me, positive and negative combined. AB, really uncommon. Check that out. 3.9% of the total population is AB. And then the O blood, listed last there on your sheet, help me with the numbers here, guys, a little bit. 46.1%. Okay, that's a huge part of the population. It's a good thing, right? Because the type O's, do you remember what we call them? They're the universal donors. Good, so they can give to any blood type, right? However, there is kind of an issue. If a person is A negative, they can't receive O positive blood, right? Because of that protein we talked about as well. One thing I found out was kind of cool from our host of blood drive. They gave me kind of a report of what blood types each person was that donated. We had like 28 donors that day, and they said something that was kind of interesting, that we had a huge abundance of type B blood here in our town. So that was kind of cool too. Oh, they gave us the totals for us. Very nice. All right, so quickly about blood transfusions. Transfusions are procedures where blood is given to a patient through an IV, right? So that just means directly into the vein. And usually to replace blood lost after surgery or after a big accident or something like that. I know it's kind of dark on your worksheet there, but go ahead and fill in the blanks or right beside it. Type O is the universal donor. It can donate to itself, A, B, and AB. Type A can donate to itself or AB. Type B can donate to itself or AB. And of course, AB is a universal recipient, meaning that it can receive any types of blood, right? Because it doesn't form any antibodies in the plasma. So down there, kind of close to the bottom, you guys, on letter D, it says complete this statement. A person with positive blood can receive both positive and negative, whereas a person with negative Rh blood can only receive negative blood. Okay?